What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of All Things Super. I am one of your hosts, Spider, and I see him powering up already. I am joined by Mr. VIP Frankie Washington.
Come back! I've been here for years. That's all I'm gonna say because I don't get sued.
Yeah,
What's going on, sir?
I'm
How are
doing
you doing?
well. I'm doing well. How are you?
You know, someone told me the other day that if I was as infinitely awesome as you are, then I will be. I said, stop right there. Stop right there in your place, in your track. Close those lips. Because if you know that I'm infinitely awesome and you know that's true, then you know so are you. So you're already infinitely awesome if you can acknowledge that I am, because it's not an ego thing. It's just we all are. We all are. If you
Where's the love
choose to
at?
be, yeah. If you choose to be, you can choose not to be. It's always a choice. There's
Okay.
choices in these things.
There are choices in these things. Well, just like you all made the choice to come and join us for this episode, but this is All Things Super, where each and every week we take a piece of superpower movie, TV shows, even trailers. We watch them, we react to them, we review them, we break them down, and we ask the question, is it super?
Is it super?
We'll find out. But if you like that, you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes that come out. If you want the audio version of the podcast, just search for All Things Super on your favorite podcast streaming service. And if you want to follow us on social media, just click the link in the description below.
And leave a comment so we can read those things.
Yes.
Spider, Invincible is back.
Invincible is back for season
Took a long hiatus for a minute, huh?
but not as long between as it was between season 1 and 2.
I know. I'm so grateful. If I sound like I'm complaining, I am not, because golly, it was a long time between season 1 and season 2.
And
so
also, we don't have
in between to say, hey, when's Invincible coming back?
Yeah.
And they pushed it in the show about why it took so long.
Right. But we also, we're not going to have that break in the middle of the season, which last season we talked about that. Like, why are we doing this? Why are we getting 4 episodes in a break and then getting another 4 episodes? It's like, what's the marketing reasoning behind that? But a lot of people were complaining about it. So they were like, look, hey, we hear you. We're not doing it again. You're going to get, we get the first 3 episodes, and then weekly, we're going to get the next 5 episodes until we finish the season.
Clearly they watch our show. I'm just going to throw that out there, Spider, because
I don't know about that.
I'm going to put it out there. We were very loud and very vocal when we asked that question. Like, who is this? Why are we doing this? Before, when you had like 25 episodes, like a real anime,
season of television.
Yeah. 24, 25 real season, and then sometimes they cut it down to 12. We was like, okay, we could see this. Then it started doing weird things like 10 and 9 and 8 and 7 and 6 and 1-day specials, and you might want to reconsider those things. I'm just saying they heard the show because clearly they're not doing this mid-season break. Who that's for? Especially in the world of today, when people want their content right now. Let's go. Let's get it. If you got it, why you holding it? Netflix did that to you.
And especially because of the time gap between season 1 and season 2. You know, we took that as clearly they're working on, because Invincible is a heavily animated show, a lot of gore, a lot of violence, a lot of blood. So there's a lot of time that it takes for them to be able to do these things. So we're like, okay, it's taking them a long time because, of course, if you've read the Invincible comics, you know the flow of what the story is going into. So you know that there's a lot that is involved.
Being prepped.
Right. And so we're like, okay, so that's why it's taking so long. But then you're like, okay, so they're releasing it, so clearly they must be done. But if they're done, why do we have, because what it was like a 3-month break in between? So
yeah,
it was
who was that for?
I don't know if it was to finish up. I mean, because can we say it was to finish up the final episodes? Because like, if you had that time, we thought it was done, but did they go back and they change some things after the first 4 episodes came out? Were they garnering interest or trying to see what was? Because you would imagine that It was
It
already
takes a long
recorded. Animation takes a
time.
long time. So I don't know
Yeah,
how quick they can do last minute changes.
not in 4 months. I mean, depending on, okay, so real quick for all those who are unknown, when you put a script together and you're doing animation, you don't give that whole script to one studio. You chop it up so it can all be done at the same time. And when you get it back, you piece it together and make a story. So I could see them maybe having a segment, maybe, or something was kind of lagging,
Mm-hmm.
so they could put on the end of the episodes. I mean, Marvel is known for running last minute, and even Tiger Waititi, Tiger Waititi, TT,
Mm-hmm.
TT, yeah, it was caught in the interview saying, we're not finished editing, and they had already had a release date, so they were definitely pushing it to the wire.
Right.
Um, I don't know if that's enough time, but and again, same example, we saw what happened in Love and Thunder, which wasn't well received. I'm glad they're not doing that on this go round.
Right. But we pick up not exactly where we left off because we left the end of last season. We had um Omni-Man's in prison, called by the Viltrumites.
Yes,
We have
yes,
Alan was
which is
also now in
agreed.
prison, caught by the Viltrumites, right there
Yes,
with Nolan. And we have Oliver being taught by I guess you call her a tutor, sort of a at-home teacher, funded by the
Nanny.
GDA. And so
Yes,
she's teaching Oliver how to be, I guess, human. I don't, not necessarily human, but just teaching him the
um,
ways of like the human history, like the things that we learn in school. She's teaching him.
yes,
And we get Mark sort of understanding the Viltrumite threat because we had someone from
well,
Viltrum.
yeah, firsthand understanding this from last season, getting his ass kicked by the Viltrumites on the
Right.
planet that he was with his
Yeah,
dad with.
the bug planet. Remember the bug planet, Vegeta? But yeah,
Facts.
on the bug planet, the three Viltrumites that came and just wiped the floor with him and his dad.
Mm.
But we, after the visit to Earth, and basically, I don't forget the woman's name, but basically her beating because
Oh, you
it
told
was
me grab Amber by the neck and was gonna kill her?
right. He was like, before you can even make it
What is her
over
name?
to this table, I will snap her neck.
I believe it too.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But there was no part about what she said that I was in doubt of.
That was not a
She never
threat. That was
scared
like,
come
I
out.
am telling you
I,
exactly how it is.
I was like, everybody about to die. She could die because they are not shy off killing people off.
Right. And so
But kill she
we
come back as a clone. You don't know what's going
we
on.
really don't know what's going to happen. But so we get the impending Viltrumite threat, and basically them telling like, look, your father failed his duty, so they now fall to you as his son, and we will be back to ensure that you have prepared the earth for the Viltrumite arrival. And so
Mm-hmm.
Mark knows that the Viltrumites are coming, and she told him that I am not here to fight you. I'm not here to kill you, but I'm here to negotiate and to make sure that you have everything that you need. But if you don't want to do what we're asking you to, someone even worse than me is
It's
going to
coming.
arrive, and he's coming. And so we open up with the season as Mark has taken that threat seriously. And so Mark,
Mm-hmm.
we talked about on our last season review when we talked about Invincible, Mark gets his ass kicked a lot.
A lot.
He
Trying to see who gets his ass kicked more, Daredevil or Invincible. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
but even though Mark is half Viltrumite,
Uh huh.
he's clearly not as strong as they are. He's not as fast as they are, and he noticed that. And so we open up on Mark training. Mark getting faster, getting stronger. He's refining his skills to where he can be a better, more effective superhero. Now, do we think, and of course, we're talking about the first 3 episodes that were released. You're coming to watch us, you're coming to listen to us, you already know we're going to hop into spoilers. But do you think that him training himself to be stronger, to be faster, to be more efficient, do you think that that has gotten him to tap into more of that Viltrum rage? Because we see that there have been times in particular in these first 3 episodes that Mark has just stopped holding back. We saw him because we saw what was it, Fight Master and Dropkick, the Jolo Maraduena's characters that was trying to steal a Declaration of Independence for whatever reason, and how
it didn't make no sense.
he was fighting with Rex, and Rex is like, "Are you gonna do anything?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "Are you holding back?" He's like, "Yeah, because I think they're just regular dudes." And they try to punch him, and it's like literally nothing. He's like, "Yeah, they're regular dudes."
Yeah, they're regular dudes.
So
like I'm fearless.
We see that he's holding himself back, he's restraining himself, but there were points in time to where he just went all out. And here's my thing, because we're seeing.
You talking about against Duplicate's brother?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he's
at
like.
one point I was like, I ain't gotta kill all of them.
Right, but just enough to make him like leave Rex alone.
Yeah. So you got extras. You got extra copies.
Yeah. And Multipole, voiced by Simu Liu, who I hope we get more of him, because we really only got him for like a piece of an episode. But, you know, of course he did his little voice acting in What If, but now he's come back to do voice acting in this. But when Doc Seismic kidnapped all of the heroes, and there were the bugs or the underground creatures or whatever it was that was fighting Invincible and Adam Eve, we saw him go through Multipole like it was nothing. When the Reanimen came in, we saw him go through them like it was nothing. What were these underground creatures made of to where they gave him such a problem? Was it because he got stabbed? Do you think he was, well, clearly when he got stabbed, he was poisoned, I think. But even before he got stabbed, he was having difficulty fighting them. So do you think do we think he was holding back at that point? Or was it something that they were just stronger than he was?
A combination of both, until he started to realize that I'm gonna have to do something, and then he started turning it up. That stab was a wake-up call, and I appreciate how they took us through that process of that stab hole closing and healing upon its own. But I think he had to turn it on.
So do we think that whatever poison, because clearly we saw him pass out, so whatever effect that had on his physiology, that kind of kept him from like fully getting into it and beating them, I'm assuming.
Well, yeah, your question has a two-part answer. I'll attack the first part with reminding you of what Mark's dad, Nolan, told him, and from what I know of the comics. So the Viltrumite DNA is so strong that he's almost full-blooded Viltrum.
Right.
It's one of those situations. It ends up overpowering your DNA anyway. It's like it's always going to continue to grow. The older they get, the stronger they get.
Right.
So it's kind of like the best way to describe it. It's like if you were a Dragon Ball Z character and you go into the hyperbolic chamber and train continuously, come out, no matter when you come out in time, which you're supposed to, it's a pocket dimension, you're supposed to come out at the same time.
Right.
You're insanely strong. And it's like, how? But that's inside of their DNA. So even this, we just get older, they get stronger. I think Thor gets older as he gets stronger as well. But the second part of your question is, I think he is really trying not to be like his dad. He's really trying not to kill, which is they're really trying
To drive that
emphasize
point
and
home, right?
home in. But it's hard to toe that line, which I appreciate them doing because in the hero genre, in the superhero genre, in our industry, the questions of what makes a hero versus an anti-hero versus an anti-villain versus a villain always comes up.
The
The
killing.
hero does what's right.
Mm-hmm.
They're not taking any lives. They're going to be the poster child of doing the right thing.
They leave the enemy's fate to be determined by the justice system, putting
The
them in
systems and
jail,
whatever practices
whatever, yeah,
that
whatever in that universe, whatever system of
by the
whatever
book,
penal system or punishment system is prevalent in that world, that's what they're leaving it to.
the anti-hero is not though.
Right.
The anti-hero does questionable things. Prime example, The Dark Knight. Even though we know Batman's a hero, he saves many lives. But in that movie, it was a prime example of I don't have to save you. I don't have to kill you, but I don't have to save you either.
Right.
And he left. And the train flew off the track and crashed, killing Ra's al Ghul in the movie.
Right.
So that's an anti-hero move.
Right.
Then when you go to an anti-villain, they ain't thinking about saving you at all. They're thinking about what's in it for them because they're anti-villain. It's about me. And then you have the villain who just wants the world domination and be praised and by bending the knee.
Right.
So the trope is, how do I be that hero in a world that doesn't allow heroes to really exist? Because they're playing for keeps. They're playing to kill. You seen Rex last season? Rex almost died. Like he got shot in the face.
I mean, literally, almost all of them almost died because Shrinking Ray almost died. Duplicate. We thought Duplicate was dead. She not had that one copy of her or the original version of her stored away, she would have absolutely been dead. Yeah, like you said, Rex almost died. Rex should have died. Rex was shot in the head,
and his hand was cut off. It was bit off. That's crazy. His hand was with the bit off.
You shot me in the head.
Pure adrenaline. That's crazy. So as Invincible goes through this, he may be title card, but at the same time, we were talking earlier, the Viltrumites could die too. We've seen Viltrumites die.
Yeah.
Mark is no exception. He can be killed. He's not invincible.
Right.
He just, nobody has. Every week he gets beat up. He's healing. He grew back his own teeth, but he gets beat up and he walks. Every now and then we just see him with a black eye. And
there's always that eye that gets blackened.
Yo, they don't hold back.
They like punching him in the face. He has a very punchable face. I think it's the bug eyes on his cowl. You are not
that arachnid guy. You're not him. Come here with that. This is what you get. First. I got a question for you though.
Yeah, what's up?
I don't know if you want to answer it now or answer it towards the end of the show, but no, I'm not going to answer it. I'm not going to answer it. Let's go back into let's go back into the story and finish breaking it down. But I'll ask you later. Trust me, I got it. I won't forget it.
Okay.
I won't forget it.
Okay.
So Mark's training, because he knows he's taking the threat seriously. Right. He's increased his sprint by 138%. He increased his speed, which they said in last season he wasn't as fast as what is her name?
I'm gonna have to look it up because I don't remember.
I want to say Victoria or Veronica
or I think it was something that started with an
A. Somebody's disappointed in me right now.
Finish your thought. Finish your thought. and I'll find
Okay,
the name.
well, I'm just saying that he wasn't as fast as her. Clearly, he wasn't as strong as her as
Right.
well. And I would think it's so interesting how these Viltrumites are so coded in honor and morality and just tradition. I can easily kill you, but I'm not going to because you're not at your best.
Right.
So I'm going to imprison you and feed you and give you strength. So you, when I fight you, it's a pride thing. I want to fight you at your best. Seen the same thing in Agatha all along. So she might be a little Viltrum too. She's like, let me get my purple back. Don't you want to fight to be at my best? You don't want
Anissa.
to. Anissa, that's the name I would have never guessed.
Yeah, I
Um,
knew it was something that started with an A, but I could not remember what it was. Yeah, Anissa.
I was way off. Where did I get those names from? All right. Well, anyway, so he's taking it seriously, like you said, but at the same time, he's told no one outside of Cecil. He didn't tell the Guardians.
Right.
He didn't tell Eve.
Well, I think he might have
Dick
told
Moore.
Eve.
He
I
did
feel
not
like
tell Eve.
did
He
he?
didn't tell Eve. Did he? Did maybe
Maybe
he
he
did.
told her off screen. I don't know because it seemed like they have definitely been talking more and more. So she seems
I
like
I
very
think they're
knowledgeable about
talking
everything that's
more and
going on.
more. Stuff that's going on between him, Oliver, his mom, and the boyfriend, yes. But he never told her. He barely talked
She
about the.
no,
He talked
she
about
knows all
being
about
trapped with
Angstrom
ancient
and everything
fluid.
that happened with that. She knows that he killed him. The only thing that she just found out about in these episodes now was what the future Eve told him about how she felt. And we get to the conversation of, oh, are you asking me out only because she told you something? Did you not have feelings for me before? And we get that resolved by the end.
Should
And
have
so
listened to your friend.
Will was telling him, right? He's like, don't tell her that. That's this. It just makes things overly complicated. But we can
It does.
see,
That he
because
don't listen.
of all of the lies that Mark has been told throughout his life, how long his dad has been lying to him and
Mm-hmm.
about who he is, where he comes from, and all this other kind of stuff. And we see
Mm-hmm.
how, because of everything that he's had to deal with Amber, he went into it saying, like, if I'm going to be with Eve, I don't want it to be like it was with Amber and me lying to her and then her finding out. And then we have to go through this whole thing of trying to reconcile from that. So he wanted to be honest from the beginning. And so even though both Will and Rick were like, don't tell her that, you don't need to tell her that, he's like, I just got to be honest. I got to just lay it all out on the line. But the way that he tried to explain it was so, he was bumbling through it the whole way through. And just, cause he's standing outside her like forest house, just trying to like talk to himself, like gas himself up
Mm-hmm.
and trying to
Muster
figure
up
it
the
out.
courage
She's
to.
like, are you just going to float out there all day? Or are you going to come in?
Hilarious. I do appreciate how they went to the practicality of this all, right?
Yeah.
So in the Justice League, you see John Stewart use his ring to create things in his mind.
Mm-hmm.
Um, not solid or permanent structures, just by his own will, he's able to manifest something that he's thinking about. Eve
Right.
is similar in that regard, but she's not manifesting something. She's actually changing the atoms of non-living things into something else.
Right.
And I never thought that if it looked like a duck, it wasn't a duck in all intents and purposes, right?
Yeah.
She's learning the mechanics of how to make it a duck. So she's changing something, even though because she created that playground for the
Mm-hmm.
kids. Great thing to do for the kids, right? She took some blighted property and
Made
revitalized
him a
it,
lot.
made it
Yeah.
for kids, and then it all fell to shit because it wasn't on solid. It had nothing to do with what she created, which is interesting how they retcon this. They said it wasn't on solid ground. It
Yeah.
wasn't on
It didn't have a foundation.
right. So, I mean, I guess that part does play into it. Like I said, there's a partial retcon. She's now taking classes for engineering and architecture. So when she does construct these things down to the atom,
She
it's
knows
structurally
exactly.
sound now.
Exactly. Because you can know how something looks, but you may not know how it works. Because, like you said, you can create a beautiful playground, but if you're just putting all of this weight of something on top of, like we said, something that's not solid
Mud,
ground,
sinkhole.
yeah, it is going to just fall right into the earth because you didn't do the proper planning, you didn't construct it properly. So yeah, that was a great little addition that they, because it makes sense. Because you, like you
It
said,
does.
you think about anybody who can create matter or create something, because like you have this type of ability to be able to do something like that, and we never think about, oh, are the
The
girders
mechanics
in
involved.
the, in the building that they just created, is this something that is earthquake proof, is it something that's stable, are the floors level, just all of these things
Right.
that you wouldn't think, because like, oh, they
You
just created
just
this building,
perceived it.
that building is
Yeah,
fine
just
now. But it's like, no, because if they don't know all of the intricacies of what needs to be put into it, they
this
just
is
throwing up,
not the
it looks
code.
nice, but you poke it and the whole thing is going to tip over because it's not anchored to anything.
That's horrible. And it makes so much logical sense that it was a beautiful welcoming to the
Who knew
story.
that we were going to get logic in our superhero animated TV show?
Not at all. Didn't know that was coming, but I definitely, it's something that I didn't know that I wanted, that I needed.
Yeah. It's like they could have easily just glossed over it and skipped it, and it wouldn't have made a difference because we probably wouldn't have gave it a second thought. But the fact that they added it, and it's like, oh, that's smart. That makes a lot of
Right.
sense.
Right. What I did not understand though is why she felt as though she needed to go back home,
I guess just
especially
to
after
be
the abuse
closer,
that she
because yeah,
endured.
she can fly in and out of the city to go to school and everything, but you know, if you got the
She just
convenience of being
wanted
closer to
closer to
school
mom.
and then closer to Mark too, then why not be a little bit closer?
Okay, well, that's she worked it out with her parents, and if you guys seen the Adam and Eve spinoff, that's a big thing. It's a
Yeah.
big deal. Definitely interested to see where that develops and where that goes, especially since we know she can survive without Mark.
Mm-hmm.
She and we also seen that relationship go bad. Like you were saying, you've seen Mark lose it,
Yeah.
which is horrible because in the relationship when he paralyzed it, he didn't lose it at all. He was already gone. He had
Mm-hmm.
already. So we know that that's in him. Do we think that can happen with this iteration? Maybe not on purpose, but as Mark is of now, an accident can happen,
Yeah.
and, and then he can lose it. Interesting choices that we went with this season.
Yeah. And I honestly thought when they were underground fighting Doc Seismic, when Eve went down, I thought that because they had that conversation prior to them getting called and they were trying to like go in between this, hey, I would like for us to date. Well, are you asking me for the right reasons? And that was left unresolved. And then we
Right.
get the possibility of Eve going down, possibly hurt because we saw how hurt Ray was. We saw how hurt Rex was. At this point, we still think Duplicate is dead. So I thought at that point, because he had been training and everything, getting stronger, getting faster, I thought that that was where he was going to like flip. And that was going to be like his switch moment where he then comes to like the realization, oh, I am like my father, I have to keep this under control. But we don't get that until later because since all of the heroes are captured, we have no choice but for um Cecil to release the Reaniman and
Mm-hmm.
Darkwing because those are the reserve players. These are who we have in the back pocket. If everything else goes to shit, we got to call in the backups. And so they show up, and Mark is like, "What the hell?" It's like, what?
Why,
Why
why are they here? I
exactly?
just fought these things.
Darkwing should
Why?
be in prison because he killed people. The Reaniman should not be in existence because D.A. Sinclair is somebody who also should be in
Supposed to
prison. They
be
shouldn't be
in jail.
working with you.
And we saw that when it happened, that this was going to be a thing in season one.
Right. And I
because he's
completely
been working for
forgot.
Cecil since season one.
And that's, that's the whole thing between having read the comics and then, going through it in the show. I forgot that Mark had not seen Cecil's Reaniman up to this point. Because
Mm-hmm.
just the two merging together, I thought that I was like, oh, he realizes that the backup is going to be there. And then when he has that look at, oh shit, what is happening? Like, why are they here? He immediately goes to attack them because the last time he saw them, they were a threat. Now, here's my thing. If
Mm-hmm.
you take D.A. Sinclair because he
Mm-hmm.
kidnapped all of these college students and homeless people and made them into these Reanimen and everything, and
Mm-hmm.
Cecil gives him another chance because he sees the potential and what this could be used for, why
Yes.
not make them look a little different to showcase that these are not just monsters, these are now government tools that are being used for a specific purpose? Why do we have to make them look the exact same? So maybe Mark wouldn't have the same reaction, like, oh, this is something different.
Brandon and trademark and Spider. That's you gotta understand. That's not a good.
That's
Maybe
D.A. Sinclair's signature look, so that's the only way he can make them.
That's the only way. Every part is intricate in part of the design. So, which is interesting because I would have switched it up too. But you gotta
Some
have
kind
that
of way.
nostalgia.
Do you though? Do we really need nostalgia in them?
Not in your enemy. No, it's like you remember when I kicked your ass the first time.
But it's like we get into these first 3 episodes and we get into episode 2 where we see Cecil reflecting on his past and everything that he did.
See.
So yeah, and so we get to see how he became director of the GDA. And I really feel like this season is focusing on the blurred line between good and bad. Because the line that they keep repeating in episode 2 is, I guess episode 2 and episode 3 is, you can either be the good guy or you can be the guy that saves the world. You can't do both.
You can't do both.
Mark is clearly trying to be the good guy. For better or for worse, he's trying to be the good guy. He doesn't want to be his father. He doesn't want to kill. Even when it comes to like these big kaiju monsters that exist in this world for whatever reason, yes. I don't know like if we're ever gonna dive into why there are all these monsters or how superheroes came to be, because we explore that in The Boys. We know that the compound V was given to babies, and that kind of is what spawn superheroes and all this other kind of stuff. But here we just have people who have powers, whether they're superheroes or they're villains. We get to see these people coexist in this world, and it's a normal thing. But as far as these giant kaiju sized monsters that come out of the ocean, because they're always in the ocean or on the beach somewhere, so they're definitely coming from the ocean for whatever reason. But even when it comes to those big type of monsters, we see that Mark has always tried to subdue them or knock them out. He was never the type to just go ahead and flat out. When Anissa, when it came out and the thing was attacking a cruise ship, Mark was trying to get it off the cruise ship, trying to beat it, trying to get it away from the cruise ship. She came in straight through the head. Like, why? Why are you wasting your time with this thing? Just kill it and be done with it.
And stop, and the blood flew off.
Oh, my God. It was so well done. But even with those things, because we know Mark, of course, wants to, like we talked about, if there's criminals, he doesn't want to kill them, turn them over to the GDA, turn them over to the cops, let them do whatever it is. But when it comes to these monsters aren't redeemable. You can't put any of these monsters in prison, but Mark still doesn't want to kill them.
I think the rule is, and it was established in some different superhero lore, that if they're sentient life, then it is to be regarded as life, and you should kill it. And there's no sentient life, like a robot or a clay monster or something that's non-intelligent.
Yeah, and then you just rip it apart.
All bets are off.
Unless they're multi-paw.
Right.
Multiple. Oh, get that.
I just got to hold back on that last one,
Right.
just the last one.
Do you think he was looking for the number one on the chest? Or like, okay, make sure I don't go after that one. Or he was just like, as long as there's some that's still around, I got my point
I,
across.
I think what happened is my friend and my colleague is getting his ass
He
whooped,
getting
and
jumped.
this guy is in the way. And I asked him to stop several times. Now I'm pissed off, and I'm just gonna take your head off your whole anatomy and start swinging it around. Which I think that was a shout out to Deadpool and Wolverine how he did it like that. But that could be a reach, Spider. That could be a
I mean, I
reach.
feel like that's a Mortal Kombat thing.
That is a Mortal Kombat originator. Who did that one? Kato, and with the eye.
Yeah. But
And you could shoot with that eye too. God
yeah.
damn it, that was a.
But we're getting this through line throughout the season so far of this blurry line between good and bad, because here we have Debbie and Mark trying to impart on Oliver, yes, you have your powers now, because we see that Oliver is big on, and they're big on promises, right? Because the conversation is family dynamic with the Grayson family. Oliver
Mm-hmm.
promises to not use his
Promise a
powers in
lot.
public. Yeah, they promise a
Yeah.
lot. Mark promises to
That's right.
train Oliver. Debbie promises to let Oliver be a hero as long as he's trained. All these promises that are going around. Oliver has developed his powers. They didn't think that he was going to get them until he was older,
Got him
because
early.
Mark didn't get him till he was 16. But clearly, of
17.
course, no, he was 16 when he got him, right? Yeah, they say he was 16 when he got him.
Okay, I'm wrong. 17.
But so they should have known, because this has only been 3 months that Oliver's been with them, and he's the size and intellect of a 11-year-old, 12-year-old. Is he that old? I guess somewhere between like 9 and 11. I think that's where he is right now.
So, for those who don't know, Oliver is the alien brother of Mark from his father, Nolan, Omni Man, and a bug lady, which I forget her name. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I don't remember her name either.
Like Spider Man, we can't remember everybody's name. Um, and so, after Nolan got snatched by the honorable Viltrumites, uh, Mark took his brother back home, introduced him to his mother, and they've been raising him since. But because of that Viltrumite in him, and the fact that his mother, the bug lady, Oliver's mother, uh, DNA grows so fast.
Right. And it's like
Oliver's age
the bug
quickly.
DNA makes him age faster, but the Viltrumite DNA makes him age slower. So he ages faster than a normal human, but he ages slower than the bug race, right, that he was born into. I think it was like 3 months.
Yeah, like something short like that.
Yeah.
It was
like a month or something, or 3 months.
It made so longer than that, because Nolan was on there long enough to help them build a society, or a better society. But I think the
3 months, 6 months,
situation
something
was,
like that.
He does age quicker than humans, but slower than they do.
Right.
And now he's able to have abilities.
Right. So he has flight, he has super strength. We
Which
don't know what
about.
other abilities, but he did lie about. He kept it a secret, and he used it to manipulate Mark. And he's like,
yes,
when I get my powers, are you going to train me? He's like, oh, can I be a superhero? He was like, I promise you can be a superhero when you get your powers. And immediately starts flying. You promised. You can't take it back. You promised. And so Debbie and Mark are trying to impart into Oliver, hey, we're heroes. We don't kill. We restrain ourselves. We control our powers. We do the right thing. And we see that Cecil shows up once he finds out, because Cecil, of course, is watching everything. And so he finds out that Oliver has powers. So he shows up. He's like, hey, let me train Oliver so that way he can control his powers and I can, help him be a good hero. And Debbie's like, no. Like he
Mm.
needs a time to be a child. He needs a time to be a kid. Which do we think
She's
that
not wrong.
she is not wrong, not at all. But do we think that that's the delineation of where Mark and Oliver veered off? Because of course Mark got the time to be a kid. We saw in a flashback of him playing baseball and Nolan showing up to his baseball again because he didn't develop his powers until he was a teenager. Whereas now Oliver, as a young kid, still has the mentality of a young kid, is now given these powers in a world full of superheroes, sees everything that can be done, wants to do the same thing, especially since he has a brother that is invincible, title card. And so now he wants to be just like that. But at the same time, as we were talking about before we started recording, we talked about the annoying kids, about how
Oh my gosh.
you have Mark that was
An annoying kid. Go ahead.
you have Mark that was, for the most part, not that Nolan wasn't there to raise him, but Nolan was off doing Guardians of the Globe stuff. So for the most part, he was raised by Debbie. And now we have Oliver, who's also being raised by Debbie, but he has a completely different mentality of what should be done. And even Debbie tells him, she's like, listen, and this was after he killed the Mauler twins. She's like,
whoa. I was going to hold off. I'm going to let you finish.
But
so when you said
because it goes all into the conversation of everything that's been going on. How many times she's tried to talk to him, stop hiding things, stop lying. You're being very sneaky, very deceptive. And now you're going out. I'm asking you not to go out without our permission. If you're going to go out, Mark is going to be with you. When Mark's with you, listen to Mark. Mark's trying to guide him. Hey, you can help, but I need you to observe. I will train you, but at least just hold on so you can understand what it is that you're able to do before you just start running into doing stuff. And Oliver, at every turn, doesn't listen, disobeys, tries to hide stuff, doesn't care what's going on because he's strong now. He can do these things. So why should it matter? And it's a question of, at this point, nature versus nurture, because they both have Viltrumite DNA. They're both being raised by Debbie. But clearly Mark is of a different mindset than Oliver. Up to a certain extent, because when we get to the point of Mark being so upset that Cecil is using Reaniman and using Darkwing as operatives for the GDA, he's like, we are clearly crossing a line here. You have wanted criminals, or not wanted criminals, but you have criminals, people who have killed. They should be in jail, but you have them working for you. And so he said, so Cecil brings up a great point. You killed Angstrom Levy. Should I lock you up? No, but that's different.
I felt like that was a low blow for Cecil. I felt like that was a low blow.
It is 100%. It is a low blow, but it's also factual.
Oh yeah, this is true.
Because the law, to a certain extent, doesn't necessarily care about, in some situations, doesn't care about the motives as to why you killed somebody, because you killed somebody.
Right.
Which,
let's be honest, Cecil has no qualms about people dying.
No, absolutely not.
He tried to talk Mark through the whole situation about when he killed Angstrom Levy and reminded him that he probably had to kill him based on what he was doing.
Right. And we get, because this is you're talking about Daredevil, it was a conversation that Frank had with Matt. I know, but you brought him up, so I'm going back to it. But in season 2, this is the conversation that Frank Castle had with Matt Murdock, Punisher had with Daredevil.
Right.
Frank was basically telling Matt, you beat up people, you catch them, you put them in jail. 3 months they
He's
get
back
out,
after
they're
that.
back to doing the same thing. They kill somebody, you stop them, you put them in jail, they get out, they kill somebody again. When I come across somebody, I put them
Put
down,
him
it's
down. They
done.
don't get up.
They don't get back up, problem solved. And so this is what Cecil is trying to tell Mark. Like, yes, you don't want us to kill people, but we're going to keep running into the same issues. How many times did you capture Doc Seismic? And
Yes.
every single time we
True.
lock him up, every season, Doc Seismic gets back out and he's back to doing the same stuff again. Yeah, he was one of the first villains that Mark came across in the first season. Every season, Doc Seismic has gotten out and almost killed Mark.
That's crazy.
But now we have the situation where Mark, like you said, Cecil said, well, you killed Angstrom Levy. Does that mean that I should put you in jail? And Mark tells him, well, that was different. You know that was different. He threatened my family. And so it's like, where is the line? Where is the line to where it's okay to kill versus not okay to kill? Pretty much. That's Mark's line. You threaten my family, you all bets are off.
That's when he goes into rage mode.
Yeah.
So don't do that. Put out an email to all villains. Don't do that. Don't threaten his family.
Leave Mark's family alone and you survive.
Leave his friends alone too.
Yeah, leave his friends alone. Leave his loved ones alone and you'll be fine.
Rex close. You took that dude head off and started swinging it like, oh my God.
Yeah. But
shout out to the animation department too.
Oh yeah, they always kill it. Every season, every episode, they kill it. But now we have a dilemma where Cecil's feeling threatened because Mark is in his face.
He did that, though.
and Mark honestly, Mark didn't have to follow him in a room because they were in a hallway and Cecil was like, look, just calm down. It's fine. Don't worry about it. We're good. And Cecil went to the room and Mark went and followed him. And so that's why he was like,
Mark was still upset.
He's like, this room is for my protection. Well, your protection from what? From you. I'm a human. I am very breakable. Right. I am very squishy. You can destroy me with not even a second thought. So clearly, I need protection.
Just accidentally, accidentally.
Had he not had the reanimin, how many? There's like twice that Mark would have choked Cecil out, killed him, crushed his windpipe, would have been dead.
Yes. I'm not playing with y'all. I'm invincible. Insert title card. But Cecil is not, you see from the episode where we saw his backstory, he's no pushover either.
No, he's no pushover, but he's also very outmatched when it comes to enhanced people. True. Like his ability is in his intellect, his way, the word I'm looking for, basically the way he can stay 3 steps ahead of somebody. That's where he shines. That's where his advantage is, because he was, what was it? I forget what their names was. It was like, it was something fist and something punch somebody.
Oh, those 2 little low grade.
Yeah. That's exactly what they were. Oh, Force Fist and oh my God, the names are so bad. What was the other one's name? Knuckle Buster and Force Fist. And so they because he came up against Knuckle Buster in the beginning, but she had him. She disarmed him of all his weapons. She took his gun, knocked the taser out of his hand, and she was beating him down. And it wasn't until, he got back into the corner to where he was able to get the taser and he shocked her. But then Fourth Fist comes in. Now it's 2 against 1. But then when they found out that they was cornered, because of course, again, his ability to stay 3 steps ahead, the all clear was fake. Me saying all clear was actually code for come and get these sons of bitches. And so when they get to releasing the gas, it takes them out. How the hell did GDA? God, because even back then they had some technology. Because the GDA was able to fix them up and reprogram
Mm-hmm.
them and get them
Mm-hmm.
back into the fight. But
Only for him to do the same thing that Mark had done.
exactly, and it wasn't until he had some time to sit in prison. I forgot how long he said that he stayed in prison. But yeah, he's like, these are criminals. They kill because the director told him when Cecil was in the hospital, they regrafted all his skin and everything except for his one
Mm-hmm.
scar on his face because that was the last piece of his real skin. But he's like, how many died? And you know, of course, the director was like, it
17.
would have been thousands had you not stopped the gas. He's like, I don't want you to tell me what it would have been. How many did we lose? And it was 17. But it's like, again, a fraction of what it would have been
Mm-hmm.
had you not succeeded. And he said, tell those 17 families and see if they feel the same way. Again, the same sentiment that Mark was saying. These people, and it's the same thing that Debbie was telling Oliver. Again, it's all coming full circle. Just because it's all connected. But just because you aren't aware of this person's friends, their family, and their connections in their life doesn't mean that they don't exist. So when you kill somebody, you're not just affecting the person's life that you take, you're affecting everyone whose lives that they're connected to. And I love the fact, I love Sandra Oh's performance in these first few episodes, because watching her try to guide Oliver through these things, you know that she's had to have the same conversations, or I don't even know if she's had the same conversations with Mark, because Mark never had that propensity to be like just unbridled, you know, strength to just go after people, because he saw his dad as a hero. So he tried to live up to being a hero. And he's already had these things instilled in him just as, you know, just a normal person. Just like, you don't do things that are against the law. You don't steal, you don't murder, you don't, you know, you try not to lie, you know, all of these things that we try to teach our kids just as normal human beings. So he grew up with that. And watching Debbie try to do the same thing with Oliver, it felt so real, because she's talking to Oliver and she's telling him these things. And then, because we've had conversations with our kids before, and it's like, do you understand what I'm saying to you? Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? I'm not fussing at you. I'm not yelling at you, but I need you to understand.
Trying to get you to understand.
Right. I need you to understand where I'm coming from, and I need you to realize what you did was wrong.
But I won't do it again, Spider. I promise.
I promise. I promise. I promise.
I promise.
But the thing that I didn't like as far as the script was her telling him, it's okay. It's okay. She's like, I'm not mad. It's okay.
He's like 6.
Right. And it's like, I understand you don't, you know, a child's psyche is a fragile one, and it's very thin ice that you got to tread, because you can see Oliver is clearly teetering. He's between hero and villain. Right. And if it had been, you think about if Nolan was there in raising Oliver without Debbie and Mark, how he would have easily, because he already wants to be called Kid Omni-Man because he thinks his dad is so great. And Mark is like, hey, look, listen, when Dad was here, he did some not great things, and people are not going to be quick to forgive him. So they see that symbol and they hear that name, they're not going to like you. He's like, well, why? He's like, well, why? It's like, dude, just again, these kids, just listen to what I'm saying. I'm trying to give you the best explanation that I can to where you would understand what I'm saying.
Right.
And it's literally like going in through one ear and out the other. How many times did I tell you to wait? How many times did I tell you to go home? How many times did I tell you just chill out for a minute so I have this handled? Well, I was worried about you. I saw in the news that you were there. I thought you were dead, so I had to help. I'll be all right.
Can't just come up, run up on me. I'm
But
here for a reason.
and so we get to the point to where he kills the Marlowe twins, and then when Debbie's trying to talk to him, well, they didn't have friends or family. How do you know that? How do you know that? How did you make that determination?
He has no clue.
And
let me tell you something.
yeah.
I'm a Marlowe twins friend. Okay. When Oliver killed the Marlowe twins, I was upset. I was like, no, what is happening? Why? And the other twin gave up. What did he punch him in the
He punched him in the
jaw?
jaw. And he was like, I surrender. I give up. I give. I quit. Like, hands up. Hands up, don't shoot.
This dude uppercut all his memory out of his body.
Yeah.
That was crazy. And had no remorse. And then the goddamn going Immortal was there like, he said he gave up. Immortal, I need you to not get involved with Oliver right now. Just got that.
Not the time. You know,
not the
time. Because well, no, I don't know. I don't know if Immortal knows that Oliver is Omni-Man's son.
I don't think he knows. Even if he did know, there's even more reason for you to not.
Exactly. I was about to say, you know what you went through with Omni-Man? You might want to leave his kid alone.
They sit at home and think about ways of how they could kill you. I think you need to not mess with this family at all.
Just leave the entire family alone.
You kill so many different ways. You living up to your name. That's the only way you're here. You Immortal. That don't mean you indestructible. They got to put you together like Humpty Dumpty.
Right.
You might want to leave little Oliver alone. Not swinging on. Cause I didn't feel like the Marlowe twins had to die.
No.
At least one of them could have lived, because you know if there's one, they go make the other one.
Right.
So
if there's one, there's always going to be a clone.
But now both of them are gone, so we don't have any more Marlowe twins.
Unless they had one stashed away or something. I don't know. Because there's always two. There's always two of them.
So now they're triplets?
Well, here's the thing. We can't say that we'll have no more Marlowe twins because we see at the end of episode 3 that Angstrom is still alive. Where, of course, we saw that Angstrom was pulled.
You don't know if that's Angstrom.
The closed caption is saying it was Angstrom leaving.
I didn't watch it with the caption though, so I feel like that's cheating.
Well, look, it happens. If they didn't want to know it was him, then they should have just had a different voice actor. Because that was absolutely Sterling K. Brown's voice. He
should have been playing a different role.
Not at all. But we saw the pulp of Angstrom's body be pulled through a portal at the end of season 2. So, well, not the end of season 2.
I didn't see that.
You missed out. He is absolutely still alive. But regardless of Angstrom being alive, we know that there were different Marlowe twins in different universes. And so that's not to say that we may not get the Marlowe twins
when he comes through.
So we don't know.
Well, we already know the Marlowe twins want to go somewhere where they idolize this gods. They say that to Angstrom maybe the first time. So even though there was a conjuncture of them that got killed in that explosion, clearly he would utilize them for something.
Right.
I'm not sure how the mechanics of him being alive works if Mark killed him. But it's kind of,
I mean, because he was dead from the explosion, and then he got brought back. They reanimated his body. They gave him enhancements, and he went back to them and got even more enhancements so he could fight Invincible. So he might have got pulled back, and they gave him even more enhancements to bring him back again.
Fix that head.
I don't know if they can do that. I think that's a lost cause.
Dude, this dude got brains that look like locks. He got locks up. He got brains down his spine.
Can't fix that.
Like, what is happening here? Dude, you smarter than everything.
Can't fix it. Mm-mm.
You can't even wear a hat with your head. Like,
I'm surprised he got a shirt on.
All that genius, you can't fix that? Tony Stark fixed his chest. You can't fix that? You smarter than Tony Stark.
Not possible. Can't do it.
Wrap it up, put it in a bun or something. Like, put all that brain in a...
Just even envisioning that is so just horrible. It's grotesque. No.
Yeah, it's the right show for it.
Oh
So
man.
even though that's happening, where here's the question I have. Where do my little dimension hopping aliens that get old when they hit the Earth atmosphere? Where are they?
Well, Nolan
They're
wiped them
still
out.
alive. Oh yeah, he did kill all of them. Yeah, he
Yeah,
went to
Nolan
their
went in there and
house
wiped
and
them out.
destroyed and just destroyed. I thought they were gonna survive it, but not after what he did.
Nah, Nolan went in there and just decimated that
Um,
whole planet.
and then went home
And
and just went home.
yeah, just went on. Had to shave. That's it.
That's horrible. And you want to be like your father, Oliver. Stop.
Well, no, because he went in there and didn't he like take over? And that's how
No,
he
he
was
went
able to
there
get
and
back?
destroyed everything. He destroyed. They try to open a portal so you can get the hell out of it.
Okay.
You've been there destroying things, man. It's like a bull in a china shop. It's like, hey, we need at least a cup of the salsa or something. Get them out of here. Yeah, the advanced technology.
But
I
we
just forgot all about that.
if I'm remembering the comments correctly, we do get back to there, don't we?
I don't know, but it's at the point that we have to start getting back somewhere. Because what's the guy that's the stone guy, the guy that has the ability to turn his skin into stone?
Oh, Mahershala Ali's character. What is his name?
Tyrone something.
Is it Tyrone?
Dig It's not Tyrone. It's nowhere near. It's not Tyrone.
Because that was in the last episode, wasn't it? In episode 3?
Yeah, he was in episode 3. So we're getting back to season 1, brass tacks. So I'm saying that at some point in time, we got to start wrapping these storylines up because, they left a lot of things in season 1 on cliffhangers. The Annie Men, which they paid off, the
This looks
Stone
so good
Dude,
as
which
well.
they're kind of paying off now, giving him some kind of stuff. KGBs, whenever he come back, oh my God.
Is it
But I
KG
really
Beast or is it Battle Beast?
I think it's Battle Beast. But it could be something else after that, honestly, because I said it wrong like 19 times before. Here's the thing. I think he's going to end up on the Earth side, quite honestly. I think he's going to want to fight Joker Knights. Maybe the tide turning.
Well, I mean, we already kind of know what's going to happen because of the comics.
Yeah, Strider, but they don't know. They were here for us. They don't know about what's going on in the Invincible
Titan,
world. Yeah,
that's his name.
yeah.
Didn't
They're not here
Mahershala
for
Ali
us.
voice him before?
I don't know where you got Mahershala Ali from, but if he in there,
Well, he
he
didn't
in
do
there.
it because an actor named Todd Williams voiced him now. But I really thought Mahershala Ali had voiced him before.
I'm pretty sure he'll take the flowers. But Todd probably feels some kind of way about it. They was like, nah, bro, that's me, bro. That's my voice. Had it my whole life. Velvety smooth. But we see Titan is taking over the
Yeah,
city in the underworld.
Mahershala Ali did voice him for a couple episodes, so I guess he didn't come back, and so they got another voice for him.
Probably just doing Blade stuff.
And doing Jurassic World.
Somebody got to hold that flash first. Somebody got to wave that thing. But the interesting part about it is, Mark don't want to work with villains. Goes crazy on Caesar. Caesar feels the exact same way. We got characters coming back that we have to include into the story because, if not, they just drop plot threads. Mark's really feeling some kind of way. He quits the Guardians.
Mm-hmm.
Come to find out that Cecil had implanted a goddamn almost suicide.
Supersonic
Supersonic
reverberating something. And he was
in
like,
his
it's in your
brain.
earpiece. And he pulled out the earpiece, not that one that's too deep for you to dig out.
How's that for betrayal? And all of this is happening in real time. So Mark's dealing with that, runs, gets to the Guardians, trying to get to Robot. So, what's Robot's real name now?
Rudy.
Rudy. Trying to get him to cut the thing out because, when Cecil hits the button, Mark's incapacitated and he's in pain.
Yeah. I like how you said it messes. Not only is the sound like messing with his brain, but it also messes with his equilibrium. So he couldn't fly. He hit that button, you just dropped out of the air.
This is maybe the one weakness that we've seen for Viltruman.
Yeah, Because he said that when he fought that undersea monster, he said, I had the scientists replicate that frequency and put it into the thing, into the implant in your head. He saw that. And I think we saw him have that realization when it happened.
Can't
So he's
trust
been
Cecil.
planning this.
Can't
It's
trust
fail-safe.
Cecil.
No, absolutely not.
Batman.
Exactly.
The day you uploaded the virus, the day I met you. That means you had to know me before the day you even saw me. Yeah,
You see this
true.
person, you immediately know that they're a threat, and you start working on fail-safes.
That's what I'm saying. Batman worked on his stuff before you even met him because he already had that advancement prep time.
And we see in the flashback when they meet Nolan for the first time, and Cecil is like, I immediately don't believe anything you said. He's like, well, we don't know where he comes from, but based on human physiology, if he was a human, elevated heart rate, dilated pupils, we know that he's lying. He's like, yeah, no shit, I know he's lying. I know he's not here for a peacekeeping mission. He's not here to protect us, but as long as he's not breaking any rules, breaking any laws, fuck him. He does what he wants to do. But we are going to monitor him. Start a file. I need to know his whereabouts, track him, see where he's going, what is he doing, figure out exactly what makes him him. So yeah, they've been building Viltrumite files on the day that he met Omni-Man, and that was where it all started. So I'm pretty sure he had been compiling stuff from the beginning to try to figure out what can we use to defeat this threat should he turn on us.
Should he? And that he did. Oh my God, season 1. They put the boy head through a subway. Murdered everybody on it. Some big things coming. Some big things coming this season.
Yeah.
Good thing they're not taking a mid-season break.
So we get weekly episodes. So we talked about before when we were looking at Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and you talked about how we believe that the more effective formula of releasing episodes, if you're not going to release just one and do week by week, introduce those first 3. And so we get the first 3 episodes of season 3 of Invincible. Do you feel that was the right show?
I'm telling you, they watch our show.
I guarantee
they don't want to express the thing. You know what? That's fine. You don't tell everybody because then everybody will watch, then everybody will know what we know, and then they'll apply what we know. Clearly, from season 1 to season 3, there's a 2 in there somewhere. They watched our show. Probably watch many shows like our show. But our show was in that list of shows.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
But do you feel like that was the right move for them to introduce these first 3 episodes?
Yes, 1,000%. But I'll say this though, Spider. Here's where my disconnect comes in, because there's some disconnect with season 3. You ready? Are you sitting down? Okay.
Yes. We've been talking for an hour. Yes, I'm sitting down. Almost 2 hours, actually.
Oh, I guess we ought to wrap the show up then. We're nowhere near the end. It's so interesting that this season 3 of Invincible, insert title card, I didn't feel it. I didn't feel like they came with it. I just didn't feel it. And I was going to ask you if you felt similar or if you felt differently. How do you feel about season 3?
I feel, even knowing where the story is going, even knowing the outcome for these characters, having read the comic books, and I talked about this when we did our season 2 review, is that they make subtle changes to different things. Like Amber going back to school wasn't something that was explored in the comics. But again, we talked about it. It makes sense. It makes perfect logical sense as to why she would be doing that. And so even though I know where the story is going to end up ultimately and how everything's going to turn out in the long run, I still enjoy watching the journey because I like looking for those little changes. I like seeing what's gonna be shaken up. And even though I know what Oliver's arc is and what Oliver becomes and where Oliver's story is going to go, it's still it still bothered me to my core. It's like, if you would just listen, kid. I was like, you're not even my son. It was just like, I just want to take him and just sit him down. It's like, I just need you to understand. No, I don't want to shake the purple out of them, but I just need you to understand the severity of everything that's going on right now. And
what's why did he promise?
He promised.
I went back on the promise like immediately.
He was literally sitting there watching the news with Debbie, and she was like, "You promised that you wouldn't just go run off." Gone. Doesn't even take a second to listen to his mom. And that's the thing what I was saying
this about was from the second time earlier when she tried to run off and she
caught him. She was like, just standing outside. And she was like, do you understand why you're in trouble? We had this conversation already. You said you were going to stop hiding things from me. Well, I didn't mean it. I know. I'm sorry. It won't happen again.
I promise.
And the thing about it, and that's why I was saying that the thing about her saying, well, it's okay, I understand, is that there aren't any consequences for Oliver at this point because he keeps doing the same thing over and over again, and there's no consequences to his actions, and he's not going to learn. They're trying to explain to him the severity of everything that he's doing and why it's so serious that he can't just go out and use his powers in whatever way he wants to. But after he does it, there's no punishment. There's no consequences. There's nothing. We're telling him that he shouldn't be doing it, but there's no repercussions after he did it to dissuade him from doing it again.
He feel bad about it.
No, he doesn't. No remorse. They didn't have friends. They didn't have family. So they don't matter. Why should I care? You're a bad guy, and bad guys need to be stopped. That's it. That is his linear thinking.
Permanently. All his jaw was on the top of his thoughts, the way he hit the ball.
But to answer your question as to how I'm feeling about these first 3 episodes, I feel like they're true to form. This is Invincible. We've talked about many a times about how there are so many things.
No title card insertion?
No, not for that one. We talked about so many times about how there are so many different things going on at the same time. We have Rick and Will dealing with Rick probably having some complications with his body PTSD. Now that he's not even just the PTSD, but just whatever they did to put him back together might need some, upgrades, might need some enhancements. He might need to go back in and get something fixed. But we're dealing with Mark and Amber's.
The fact that he's a cyborg still, that's reality.
Right. And we're dealing with Mark and Eve's relationship now. They've agreed to date. They're dating now. We got Debbie trying to date. Debbie's going out with Paul, and Paul probably will die. Paul knows who Invincible is now, and Debbie didn't talk to Mark about it. They had to come to terms with that, and Mark had to understand, like, other than you, she's been alone through all of this. Yeah, she's working, but she's a real estate agent. She can't just talk to people who she's trying to help buy a house and like, oh, I'm just having so much trouble with my kids. They just want to fly off and go do shit. She doesn't have anybody to talk to.
And she tried to do the support group, and you see how that worked out.
Right. As soon as they found out that she's Omni-Man's ex-wife, get out of here. We don't want anything to do with you.
I don't think you should go back to the group. You
right.
Get the hell out.
And so we have that relationship going on. We have the ex-teen team, but now, whatever it is that they're going to be now, and how they've broken off from the Guardians of the Globe because they saw what Cecil was doing, how he was about to kill Mark. And Cecil came in and was like, all of you stand down. This has nothing to do with you. Get away. Mm-hmm. And they're supposed to just turn a blind eye to while Mark is lying there writhing in pain because his brain is about to explode from this sonic resonator that's in his head. Like, and Rex is like, no. Rex is like, fuck this. You don't own me. And even Cecil told Rex, he was like, we helped you. You have a new hand now, because he came in because he wanted to get his head fixed. He's like, see this? I'm trying to flip you off and I can't.
Mm.
This is my favorite. Mark was like, that was his favorite finger. This is my favorite finger.
I thought it was a joke because he flipped off the whatchamacallits later on,
Yeah.
but at the same
Well, because
time,
they fixed
you
his
could
hand
be
by that
right.
point.
Oh, well, that makes sense now. Yeah, and then Monster Girl said it best. Like, if he can do that to Mark, what's stopping them from doing that to any one of us?
Right. Mark is the strongest of us. Mark was like the number one agent, because they were upset how Mark was getting sent on everything and they weren't. So clearly Mark is his A1. If he's doing that to Mark, we're expendable.
Ain't no hope for us.
He doesn't care about us. And I'm surprised that none of them even came to the assumption, well, if he has it in Mark's head, does he have it in all of our heads? Can he do the same thing to us?
Still satisfied?
Essentially, yeah. So
it'd be so interesting if you found out Amanda Waller and Cecil was in the same training together or something.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. But again, with everything that's going on, nothing feels like it's rushed. And now we're getting the Titan storyline, because Mr. Liu is coming in, because Multipole is working with Mr. Liu, and they're like, hey, this happened on your turf. He got caught up and now he's in jail. Mm-hmm. You have the responsibility of getting him out. He's like,
get him out.
No, I don't. And he's like, look, when you took over Machine Head's turf, you took him out, you took his responsibilities, and his responsibilities to us, I forget what the group is called, but
it sounded like a huge organization. It sounded like a big group.
And so he's like, you have responsibilities to fulfill your duties. And Titan is like, look, I just wanted to make sure that my family was taken care of. I'm not worried about all this. We just got our block secured, and that's all I'm worried about, making sure that my block is taken care of. But so we're getting that. We have, like I said, we have Mark and Eve's relationship.
Titan is not a villain either, though. He's an anti-villain.
Yeah, like you said, he's only in it for himself. He's not trying to take over the world. He's not trying to go out and do crime just for the sake of, being the biggest, the baddest. He's like, I got my responsibility. I got my block. I'm just gonna make sure that we straight. Don't come in here trying to cause no problems, but I'm not going out trying to amass a whole amount of power and trying to take over anybody else's either. He's like, I'm worried about me and mine, and that's it.
Yeah. Rightfully so. I ain't mad at her.
But so we have all of these different storylines going on at the same time. But again, nothing feels forced. Nothing feels shoehorned. At these 3 episodes at this junction, I never felt like, oh, we're going back to this again. I don't care about this point. The only thing is we're getting. Wait, what's that?
I said I was happy to see the Marler twins.
I'm sad that they got taken out so easily, but it's like we're getting Nolan and Alan, we're getting Debbie and Paul, we're getting Kate and Immortal and the Guardians of the Globe, we're getting the Teen Team, we're getting Mark and Eve. Now we even came back to Amber. See that Amber is dating now. We get Will and Rick. So we have everybody's brought back. Everybody's still being incorporated in the story. We haven't forgotten about anybody, but nobody feels like, oh, this person, C's storyline is getting way too much time over the A storyline. Everything still feels balanced. It doesn't feel like we're not getting anything that we should have gotten, and we're not overstaying on things that don't matter. I still feel like we're moving at a very steady pace, and we have everything that has been introduced in these first 3 episodes. It makes it feel like there's going to be a lot happening in the next 5 episodes. But I feel like everything's going to be paced well, because we haven't had any pacing issues in any of the previous seasons. And I feel like they're staying true to form on everything that's going on. I feel like the emotions that I have watching these first 3 episodes are the emotions that they want me to have. They want me to feel like Mark's being pigheaded and not understanding reason, but at the same time, Cecil is being dirty and he's been lying to the Guardians and to everybody else.
Very true.
It wants
Very,
me to
very
understand that Oliver is a kid and, you know, he still has to come to terms with his powers and what he can use them for. But then at the same time, he's still also right because bad people have to be stopped. But the way that he's doing it is not the way that they should be going about it. But we also
murderous
see,
rampage.
and we also see because we see with Doc Seismic breaking out, clearly having them in jail at the GDA is not working because we have breakouts of it. How many times has the Marlowe twins broken out of the GDA? How many times has Doc Seismic broken out of the GDA?
At least 3.
It's not working. So clearly we have to do something different. We have to do something different, but killing them is not necessarily the different thing that we need to do. So far watching these first 3 episodes, I'm enjoying it. I'm ready to see the next one, and I'm ready to see where the rest of the season goes because I know we can only do so much in the season with 8 episodes, and I know everywhere that we have to get as to what we have in the comic books. There's so much more that we have in the comics that we haven't touched on yet.
We always say, why the hell they keep doing these short episodes for seasons?
Because I feel like they don't want to rush through it. We have a lot of story to get through. Invincible is a wildly popular show. I don't see it being canceled anytime soon. So until the day where Amazon Prime say, look, y'all run out of money, we gonna cut this short at season 5, and then they got to figure out a way to try to wrap it up by season 5. But as long as people keep watching it, and as long as they keep doing the things that they're doing, I see them 6, 7, 8 seasons.
100 years, Spider. 100 years.
And like I said, and I think I said this in either our season 1 review or our season 2 review, they might.
We do a lot of reviews.
We do. But they might end up extending it. They might go beyond what we saw in the comic books. They might release another run of the comic books to go beyond what we saw in the show. So we don't know what's happening in the future of Invincible. But what I do know is that for right now, they're firing on all cylinders, and I have no complaints about it.
I can tell you what it is about it, Spider. I can tell you what it is because it wasn't hit or miss for me. I enjoyed the season 3. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's the bratty kid. I can't do bratty kids, man. I can't do bratty kids at all in my content and my media. I don't do well with kids that's just ungrateful about what's going on.
Right.
And you're right. There's no discipline for Oliver. There's no accountability. But how do you parent a kid that can? Well, we don't even know the extent of his powers. Clearly, Oliver is somewhat durable. I mean, you see, he got his ass kicked. And then his brother got his ass kicked.
Yeah, but we also see that after Mark yelled at him because Mark didn't even. Mark found out that he killed the Marlowe twins. So, of course, he's yelling at him. He's like, well, what are you doing? We talked about this. And Oliver goes to fly away, and he's clearly faster than Mark now, where when we saw that when Mark was training him, Oliver was struggling to catch up. So
he actually like, when did you get so fast?
Yeah, and so he again had to outsmart him and triangulate his trajectory to try to intercept him at a later point. But
shout out to that whoever thought about what they did too, because in the spirit of him being a kid and Mark being a big brother, when he caught him, it was just an embrace.
He wasn't trying to disarm him. He wasn't trying to take him down, take him out or anything. He was just trying to hold him and be like, look, stop. I'm trying to talk to you. Just calm down for a second.
Right. That's some real brother.
I didn't mean to. It was an accident. Well, yeah, Immortal said that the second Marlowe twin was surrendering.
He gave up. Yeah. It's like, nah, he had to die, Mark. I thought he was going to hurt you. And then he was like, no, I'm in title call. It all makes sense. It all makes sense. But no, he's not. And that's what did it for me, right?
Okay. I can agree with that.
I can't do it with kids. It's when you have the ability to tell a story in so many different ways, I just would like for you to opt out of the unruly kid and just tell a story in any other way.
But it's hard to, because that's where the conflict is coming in, right? Because it's hard to take a a child or someone's
Mm-hmm.
of a child's mentality
Mm-hmm.
and try to get them to understand the importance of control when what
Right.
they can do can't be controlled.
Right.
Oliver is of the ability of being able to do whatever it is that he wants to do based on his speed and his strength. And there
Mm-hmm.
are very few people that will be able to stop him. And when
Or
you,
even mash them
or even match him. And when
out
you,
the heroes.
exactly. And when you have a child or someone of a child's mentality with that kind of power, it takes so much for them to be able to understand practicing restraint. And that's why I was saying I am
That's not the line. That's not the line.
because it's a different show. It's a different franchise. It's a
Gotta
different
say, you
line
gotta
because
say it.
I don't have to say it. They don't say it in this one. But no, that's why I was saying that I love Debbie's character arc in this because she is trying her best to not be overbearing, but then at the same
Right.
time, because she saw what happened with Mark when she was trying to, convince Mark to stay in school and convince Mark to, try to go a certain way. But she's like, clearly I'm holding on to him too much. I have to give him some type of freedom because he has to
Mhm.
be able to learn and understand what it is that he wants out of life. And that's the only way that
Yes.
he'll be really comfortable with it. So she's trying to do
Yes.
the same thing with Oliver, but clearly Oliver needs a more rigid structure because he's just
Like a
going off.
dad.
I had he does need
Looking like
a
a
dad.
dad.
And Mark,
Dad.
and to Mark's credit, Mark is trying to fulfill that, but then he also has everything else that's going on in his life that he's trying to take care
Mhm.
of too. And he tells Eve, "How can I be a son, a brother, a boyfriend, a
Yeah, he
superhero?"
threw. Yeah, he had just to like dude. Just kind of got the confirmation. He wasn't
Like,
official yet,
look,
but okay.
hey, we were dating, we were boyfriend and girlfriend. But he's saying, how can I do all of this? I can't. I'm gonna let everybody down again because he knows what happened with Amber and how much he put her through trying to be both the boyfriend and the superhero and making her
Yeah.
worry and getting her involved into, harm's way, and how that could have ended terribly for her in the blink of an
Could have
eye.
had that neck squeeze, ex Loki, them next five.
And so, but I love what Eve told him. It's like, you don't have to do this on your own. It's like, we're together now. We're both superheroes. I understand. Cause like when he was saying he was late for their first date, she's like, look, I get it. It's not like I don't know where you were. I saw it on the news. You were being Incredible. Oh, we haven't even talked about the new suit. Incredible now.
Yeah.
He's in the black and blue, and we already know what happens in the black and blue. It's a more serious Mark. It's not the hopeful, optimistic, super heroic goody two shoes Mark that we saw in season 1 and season 2. We know that in his black and blue suit, Mark is gonna get into some darker tones. Some his arc is gonna go a little bit darker. Mark is gonna be doing some things that we
That's
didn't
move him out
expect
of the
Mark to
hero
do.
to the anti-hero category.
He's leaning that way. He's going from a lawful good to a more like chaotic good.
Told the line. You got to told the line.
But
It's
I love the fact in this, when superheroes get into relationships with each other, it's not like, oh, I'm sorry, I had to go save an orphanage, or I had to, oh, I got held up, the bus was late, or my car broke
yeah,
down, I couldn't make it, I'm sorry, I'm late. Eve
right.
is like, look, I saw you on the news. Are you okay? Is Oliver okay? I understand why you're late. We can always reschedule. And it's like,
Definitely.
I can only imagine how much of a weight that's lifted off of Mark. If he
Don't
doesn't
have to
have
live that
to,
double identity.
yeah, I don't have to try to make excuses or fake, things. But at the end of the day, it's still, even after Amber found out that Mark was invincible, the worry is still there. This is somebody that I care about. This is somebody I love. He's going out and fighting these, villains, super villains, monsters, all this other kind of stuff. I
At the
still
same
have to
time, he went
worry
to
about.
space twice. That
He
takes a
did go to
toll on
space
anybody's
twice. True,
relationship.
true. But it's like I still worry about if at the end of the day he's going to come home. like we said, Mark gets beaten to a pulp a lot. So at the end of the day, we still have to
you
worry
can
about if
insert
he's coming
title
back.
call, but he's not. He can die. You can be invincible and die too.
Yeah, he's not immortal.
There you go. And you see,
But I mean, even immortal died. So, but
there's no safety on this show.
no,
You
absolutely
can't.
not.
That's
But
what
it's
makes it.
no, it's I'm enjoying the way that the show has been going for these first 3 episodes.
I can't give you that. I can't give you that. Let's see how
But
we deal with Freddie
so
Allen.
if we take not even take Oliver out, but just take out his inability to understand the severity of the things that he's done. If we take that out, would your opinions change about whether the show
Totally change. Totally change. Totally change. Because even if he took the life of some other villain, not the Molar twins, just because they started off Invincible for me. Remember, they were the first villains that we saw,
right?
At least for me.
Yeah,
came out the ground from the White House. I'm connected. Even the situation they were, because since then, don't get it twisted. They're definitely villains.
Yeah,
they're more like anti-villains though. They tote the line because they were trying to take over for the sake of taking over, just so they could be worshipped and idolized.
right.
I'm with it. You don't need any other motivations. That's what we're doing. Sign me up.
And like when they were trying to launch the EMP from the missile silo, also those poor guards. Because that was the same thing that happened. Whatever that vending machine and that coffee machine, they need to move that to a different wall.
Get that out. Get out the whole goddamn building. Just take that out of here.
Because as soon as when we opened up on that scene and I saw that wall, I was like, "Are they back in the missile silo? Is that the same place?" And then when the woman got spooked, and she was like, "Yeah, they came in right through here. I was on cleanup detail." I was like, "Oh, they're about to die. They are not long for this world." But even with the Mala twins launching their missile, they're like, "Hey, our plan is to take an EMP and like
take out the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, take out the internet for the world. So you have to go through our network. It's not that we're trying to take it out so we can destroy the infrastructure and steal everything. We just want to be in power enough to where when we succeed, y'all can't just throw us back in jail and be all right. We just want to be up here enough, not even at the very tippy top. We don't want to take over the world. We just want to be in control of something."
Well, they gave us an episode about the two partners down on their luck and got evicted from their house, and they robbed the bank. And
the thought behind doing all of that like in silence, so we can just no words, but even though they were like having conversations with each other and other people were having conversations with them, we don't get to hear any of that. But we didn't lose anything. We didn't lose any meaning. We didn't lose any emotion. We saw, because clearly these two were in a relationship. We saw the love that they had for each other, and just the ups and downs. Like they were trying to do better. Like they were trying to be better. They saw like they were trying to rob a bank, and they see the fear on people's faces, and they're like, "We're not trying to be villains, but we're trying to just take care of ourselves." And clearly, they got the job at the diner, and the manager yelling at them because they were going too slow, and they try to speed things up, but it got messed up, so they get fired. And it's like they're just, and we see the rejection from business after business after business, to where they just like, well, we got to fall back on what we knew before. We got to go back to crime. So we go rob the bank again and almost get away with it. But then Invincible shows up, and yeah, just being able to see all of that and just not get a single word out of it. It's just, it was so heartfelt and so emotional. And it's just like, that's the side that we don't see when we're constantly following the heroes. Yeah, we see the villains when they break into the bank and they're trying to steal stuff and get them, get them taken care of and apprehended. But at the end of the day, we're going back and we're following the villain. I mean, we're following the hero. Oh, they did such a great thing. They stopped these people from robbing the bank. But their motivations behind why they're robbing the bank in the first place that we never get to see.
That part.
And
And
then
that's what makes the story.
even we get to the point to where they get fired from the diner, and the guy with the, because I think it's an alien or something that's in the chess piece,
Yeah, I think it's a yeah.
and so he's looking at the bank. It's like, well, we got to go back to, and his partner is like steps in front of him like, no, we can figure
Oh,
something out. We're not going to go back to that just yet. And we see them try and they try and they try and they try, and then they get evicted and they're on the streets, and it's like, it's rough. It's hard out there.
facts. Not hard enough to have Invincible punch you in the face. I'll bypass that. Because when they got away, I forgot the hero that stopped them the first time. When they got away from him, and decided to go clean.
It
I think,
was it? Because it was somebody that could fly, right? Because they flew
yeah,
around the
he's
corner
on
and they
the
couldn't.
Guardians now. I just don't remember his name. And I think that
Oh, it
was
was
a perfect
bulletproof. Yeah, it was bulletproof.
I think that you're absolutely right. I think that was a perfect setup for what we saw after that, which is the situation with Oliver killing the twins. Though the Molar twins were not doing it for survival reasons or just, basic needs,
Mm-hmm.
it goes to show how everyone may not be as villainous as you may seem, or
Right.
they may seem. So coming in guns blazing, thinking, "Oh, I'm just going to take these guys out," you're really murdering families.
Right. You murdering people who are literally just down on their luck, and they find themselves in an almost impossible situation to be able to get out of.
That
And
part.
they're just trying to survive, and they're just trying to make a life for themselves, and then their life is cut short because they did
Oliver
something.
can't control himself.
Right.
Because he's a baby snake. He's a baby snake. They don't have control over the venom. So when they bite, that venom sac becomes empty. When Oliver fights, he just, I didn't mean to. Sure,
But did you?
You seen how he looked?
he went straight up like
villain.
Yeah, that was a
Straight
switch.
villain.
That was something that just turned on in his head. After
That's
that, because seriously, because he flew through the first Marlowe twin.
Yes.
After he broke the other one's jaw.
Yes, that's why I thought the one that got his jaw broken was going to be okay. I'm like, well, he got his jaw broken, but at least he's alive. He'll go to jail, break out,
and then make another one, and then they go back to the
Samoa twins. That's what they do. Now you over here with this nonsense. Now I don't have no Marlowe twins.
And oh my god! And so Immortal looking at Oliver is like, you killed him. And of course, Oliver caught, because what kids do when they get caught. Oh, I didn't mean to. It was an accident. And then Cecil pops in. He's like, hey, they're just not used to seeing kids being able to do what you do. And in that split second, Mark comes in, hand around the throat.
What I told you.
I told you, if you go near my family again,
what I told you,
would kill you.
Stay away from us.
And then he looks around and sees what happened. He's like, he killed the Marlowe twins. And Mark is like, outside now. No, he's in the air now.
Yeah, I'll be back. It's just like the Loki Thor situation. He's adopted. It's my half brother. He is my brother. He's my half brother. He's just adopted.
Oh man,
that's crazy. If they could get the Oliver thing under control, I think I'll be good for the season.
Yeah,
I'm excited about it.
And depending on how far they go into depending on how far they go into the season, however long of a time span that we get, Oliver's clearly growing faster. He's going to be a teenager probably by the time the season ends. But I feel like as a teenager, his attitude is only going to get worse before it gets better, and it's going to lead to some real conflict between him and Mark.
Do you foresee a fist fight similar to Omni-Man and
maybe not
ass whooped again by his brother and his father?
Probably. I would say a fist fight maybe not similar to Mark versus Omni-Man, because Nolan was really ready to kill Mark. And I think Oliver loves Mark.
I think the subway kind of showed that.
Well, I mean, even, on the mountain, he was just pummeling him into the rocks. but I feel like Oliver loves Mark too much. He idolizes Mark too much. He doesn't understand why. Because I'm trying to remember what was the last thing that we watched where there was somebody who had that same mentality. It was like, we have the ability to do these things. Why? And this is what I was thinking, because I knew we were going to review. I knew we were going to do this review, and while I was watching it, the thought that I had was that Oliver is what Homelander wanted Ryan to be.
Yes.
To have that
1000%.
mentality of, we
We're
have
better.
the ability to do this. All of these people are weaker than us. So why not impose
We're
our
stronger,
will?
we're faster, we're better.
Exactly. Why not impose our will onto them? Not to the sense of where Oliver is trying to impose his will on anybody. He is in no way getting towards Homelander level of just kill everybody with no care. He's not just going out to kill people just to kill people. That's what that's Homelander level. But he is definitely, because on the spectrum,
Homelander does that.
I mean, he does kill people that gets in his way, regardless of whether they're good or bad. Right now, Oliver is not of the mindset of, I'm going to kill you just because you're trying to stop me, whether you're good or bad.
Right.
He's not there yet. He's definitely getting into that direction. That's what I'm saying. On the spectrum of
on
the spectrum of Debbie, Nolan, and Homelander. Because you got Debbie, you got Mark, you got Nolan somewhere getting kind of here.
Yeah.
He's in between Mark and Nolan. He's definitely a lot on the caring, nurturing side, but he's not into the homicidal, I'm going to wipe out the entire planet. But he's heading in that direction.
Catch him on the wrong Wednesday.
Catch him when he hasn't had his cereal.
Something. Try to take his foot pop away. See how that works out for you. Not gonna work out well. Play with the Skittles and see if you can go taste the rainbow or not.
I know.
Well, only if you're thinking about it like that. But I just said he'll throw you across the state.
You said it.
Oh, I stand on it. Corey Holcomb told me. I stand on it. I believe 100%. If you try to take his Skittles, he will make you taste the rainbow. Throw you across the city, laying in a pot of gold.
But before we wrap up, what are you looking forward to this season of Invincible?
Mark and Adam Eve consummate their relationship.
Okay. We know. I mean, we read the comics. We read the comics. We know it's going to happen, but I didn't know that's what we was looking forward to.
Yes. That's the part.
That's fair.
I'm also afraid of if they're going to go with that situation. Don't ruin it. I'm actually not going to ruin it for anybody.
I'm almost 100% sure that they will. I am almost 100% sure that they will.
But how far are they going with it? Because this is Amazon.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think they're going to like show every single second of it.
Oh no, it's not that. They'll probably pan off screen, but
yeah.
I'm sick of Mark getting whooped on, man. When are you gonna stop winning?
I mean, technically, had it not been for the implant in his head, he won against Reaniman. He went through all of them, and he went to Cecil. He was like, "Is that all you got?" And he's like, "Kid, I wish you wouldn't ask that."
Wouldn't you? Clearly, he has a lot. And well, the one thing about it, Cecil did say they're not live people; they're dead corpses. So
yeah, and they were donated.
Great morale in the situation is no. But he's doing again the flashback for his episode. He's going to do everything he can to save the planet.
Right.
That part. And like you said, this is a planet that has kaiju monsters, aliens, dimension hopping monsters, dimension hopping aliens. You need a team. You need some type of. And the bad part about it is he is a Nick Fury, right? He's a spy of all spies.
Right.
So who knows how much that he knows that's off the books. We haven't even talked about what's the demon that he brought that he sent back to the underworld.
Oh, Clancy Brown's character.
Yeah. There's a possibility
Damien Darkblood?
Dark Blood. There's a possibility he can bring him back. So there's all kind of elements that he's working with, trying to keep the planet safe. So he doesn't really have time to deal with the emotional side of things.
Right.
He had a friend that's been blown up to hell so many times that it's hard to even put them back together. You see, he don't even have them in the
What
field
do you
now.
say? 29 times that he's been brought back, and he's like, and every time there's a little bit less of me to bring back.
Yeah, that's do the math. You need a desk job. You can't help. But how many lives has he saved in the
Right.
process? So man, it's real out here. All about here just taking lives. You're not adding to the solution, my boy.
No,
You're
you're
adding to
not.
the problem.
And what I want to see a situation where Oliver is held responsible for the wrong that he's done. Because, like I said, I feel like that's the only way that
That's
he'll
not gonna
learn.
happen.
I
That's not
don't, I
gonna
don't think
happen.
it is, but that's what I would like to see, because I need him to grow from this. I need him to realize exactly the impact that he has in the choices that he makes. I don't know if it's going to happen this season. I don't know if it's going to happen next season, but
But Spider, he
I need him.
promised. That promise is not good enough for you. He
No, because
promised
he's gone
a
back. Like you
lot
said,
of
we already
times.
talked about how he went back on his promise immediately.
Immediately. Immediately. Like I said, you sure that was me? That was AI. That was me. I promise I won't do it again.
Okay. And then Debbie was like, okay, I believe you.
Okay. That's the W in it. That's all I can say about that
Yeah.
situation. But we still got some. One thing I will throw out here before we do wrap it up.
What's up?
How long did it take to break Omni Man out of prison? Alan and Omni Man have been talking for weeks now. Literally weeks.
I mean, they only.
Alan can get up and walk out. He's just that strong.
Right.
And Omni Man's telling him, "Why are you still here?" He's like, "I'm breaking you out." Like, dude, I'm not leaving. Get out of here. Go about your business and do whatever it is you do. I'm
Like,
not going
nah,
nowhere.
we need your help. We need your help in the upcoming war. You got to fight. But I mean, they're only getting like a minute and a half per episode, so it's gonna take
Right.
them.
It's a slow, and they try to give it to us all at once in one episode.
Yeah, it's gonna take until we actually get like a real good chunk of the episode following them when we start to progress that story arc. But no, I do agree that. Okay, we're going back to and nothing is happening in these scenes.
Yeah, they're at a point now they're about to start experimenting on them. And it's like, nah, that's not gonna happen. Then they start experimenting on them. I was like,
He's like, it's gonna take it'll take a pretty big laser to take me out. And there's a big laser, and he's like, I guess I guess it wasn't enough. And then Nola was like, wait, you're back? He's like,
yeah,
oh, you actually cared about me. You thought I was gonna die. Oh, you're ignoring me. Well, you can't ignore me forever. Come on, answer me. I know you're there. It's just Seth Rogen just talking in your head.
Doing his thing. That's perfect casting for
It
that
is.
situation.
It really is.
Set the everyone. I don't know. I'm just ready for him to get out.
Yeah.
Even if they get out and don't go straight back to Earth, maybe they get out and go look for the rider so they can have the gun. I'm okay with that. It's just they're still stuck in there, and it's time for them to get out.
Yeah, and I do feel like we do need some more developing story between Nolan and the Viltrumites, because it's that relationship, of course, is strained, and we still have to be introduced to the leader of the Viltrumites. I won't drop any names just yet because they have yet to be introduced, but we still have to meet the person who is behind all of this.
Clearly the strongest of them all.
Right. Because we already know how strong the Viltrumites are. So if you at the top of the top, you got to have that strength.
Can cut people with the what's the one lady that was cutting people with her hair? She had that ponytail.
Oh, I don't remember her name, but yeah, she's dead now. Alan killed her.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying.
Yeah, she was brutal.
I don't know what shampoo she was using, but give me a bottle of that. I mean,
can you what's the daily routine like? Because does she take it out when she goes to sleep, or does she just wrap it up, or Like, does she every morning she has to like rebraid her hair to put the blade in it? Like, or does she only do that when she's like going out to fight?
We'll never know. She
We'll
did.
never know. She did. So hopefully you all will be coming along with us as we go throughout the rest of season 3 of Invincible and check out the rest of the episodes. But let us know what you thought about the first 3 episodes that were just released. But again, let us know what you think about the show. If you like it, go ahead, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes that come out. If you want the audio version of the podcast, just search for All Things Super on your favorite podcast streaming platform. And if you want to reach out to us on social media, just click the link in the description below.
Hey, I'm not joking. Leave a comment. We read those things. So I appreciate all the comments that are being left.
Yes. It's going to be wild. Invincible gets wild. So we already know that we are in for a lot. And we just looking at the rest of the episodes of the season, we have, like I said, we have 5 episodes left. And the titles for the rest of these episodes, because like I said, we got the suit in episode 3. So now we're looking at a new suit. So we have episode 4, You Were My Hero. Episode 5, This Was Supposed to Be Easy.
This was supposed to be.
Yeah, this was supposed to be easy. Episode 6, All I Can Say Is I'm Sorry. Episode 7.
I have broken promise.
Another broken promise. Episode 7, What Have I Done? And episode 8, I Thought You Never Shut Up. It's
titles was any indicator about what's about to happen. Buckle your seatbelts. It's about to get real interesting.
It is. But we will be back to talk about Invincible at the end of the season. We'll do a full season review. But next week, it's been a while. But the MCU is back in theaters with Captain America, Brave New World. So next week we will be back with our review of Captain America Brave New World, talking about Anthony Mackie as Captain America, talking about Harrison Ford as Red Hulk. We got Giancarlo Esposito in here. We got Falcon coming back. We got Isaiah Bradley coming back. So we're going to see if it's as bad as the critics are saying that it's going to be, or if we're going to be pleasantly surprised.
As good as the critics say that it won't be. Or even more so, is it awesome? Is it super?
There you go.
Is it? Well, I was leading up.
Oh, okay. Look, I'm just saying, I'm making sure you're getting the vernacular right on what you're saying, so we know cross brand of anybody else. I don't know if they got Is It Awesome podcast out there or something, but I don't want to cross no lines.
Well, Is It Awesome podcast and it's not mine. Something's wrong.
No, you got the Infinitely Awesome podcast.
I'm suing this year. This whole year I'm suing. Look out for cease and desist and lawsuits follow.
Oh,
we'll let you know if it's super though, because if it ain't, we'll let you know.
Oh yeah, we will absolutely let you know. But until then, we'll be back with the next episode. But just remember, keep being super.